She fired me with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. A rehearsed smile, a practiced one. "Effective immediately," she said, sliding the termination letter across the glass table. My wife's sister, now the newly crowned CTO, leaned back like she'd been waiting years to say those words. Her father, the CEO, watched from the corner, silent, approving. My wife stood beside him, arms folded. Too still. I felt the shift before I understood it. The room wasn't hostile, it was staged, a trap. And yet, I said nothing, not a single word. I only reached for the folder in my bag, the one no one had noticed me place on the table. I tapped it, once. "Before we finalize anything," I said quietly, "read paragraph 4. She frowned. She opened it. And as her eyes moved, the room changed temperature. The first crack appeared in her confidence. The betrayal hadn't started today. I'd felt it weeks ago. Subtle, almost tender at first. My wife's late-night messages, the small pauses before she answered me, the sudden hush in her voice when her sister called. I'd told myself it was work, pressure, promotion talks. But suspicion has a sound, a rhythm, and once you hear it, you can't unhear it. The two of them had been circling each other long before the job title shifted. I sensed it in her laugh when she thought I was asleep, in the way she defended her sister with a ferocity she never used on me. I didn't accuse. Accusation needs certainty. I only watched, quietly, like an engineer studying a failure he already knows the cause of, waiting for the logs to confirm it. I began pulling threads, not dramatic ones, small ones, email headers, login history, meeting invites mysteriously forwarded to her private account, a financial trail neither of them thought I'd ever cross-check. Every discovery tightened something in me. Not anger, no, something colder, a calculation. I booked a DNA test under an alias when she abruptly announced her pregnancy. I never asked why her sister visited our home every time I worked late. I started saving copies of the repository access logs, audit trails, remote connection timestamps, all while smiling across dinner tables and pretending not to see the glances they traded, the ones that lasted half a second too long. By the time the evidence arrived, digital, medical, and painfully human, I wasn't surprised. People break with noise. Systems fail in silence. Ours had been failing for months. The report arrived on a Tuesday morning. I read it once. Then again. Not my child. Not my betrayal alone. A partnership. Sisters in every sense. I didn't storm into a room. I didn't scream. I simply printed what mattered, marked paragraph 4, and placed it in the folder I now watched her holding. The clause she had clearly never read. The company does not own the technology. It is licensed. Termination voids access unless contractually renewed by the licensor, me. She looked at me, pupils blown wide. Her father leaned forward. "What exactly does this mean?" She swallowed. "Sir, he doesn't work for us. He licenses the core platform to us." Her voice broke. "We just evicted our infrastructure." My wife finally blinked. Slow. Realization settling like ash. I leaned back, mirroring the posture she had used to dismiss me minutes earlier. "I'll send a formal notice," I said. "Your access ends tonight." Her sister's face twisted. Rage, fear, something feral. My wife's hand reached for the table like she needed to hold on to something real. "You planned this?" she whispered. "No," I said. "You did. Because betrayal gives a man two things, clarity and time. I had used both. They thought firing me would humiliate me. They thought removing me meant they owned everything I'd built. But all they owned was the lie they crafted together." Her father stood, suddenly smaller. "Let's discuss this. We can fix." "Not this." I said quietly. Not anymore. Their empire sat on my code, and their family sat on my silence. Both were expiring. I walked out without looking back. The hallway felt wider than it ever had, cleaner. My chest didn't hurt. It didn't feel empty. It felt calibrated. Outside, the air tasted like something I hadn't felt in months. Control. They would spend weeks trying to rebuild what they never understood. They would fail. As for the child, I let the truth exist without forgiving anyone for it. Not my burden. Not anymore. Some betrayals cut deep. Others carve you into someone sharper. By the time I reached the street, I realized something simple, final. They had fired me to take everything. Instead, they freed me to take myself back. And that was the one thing they never thought I'd walk away with.